Jose Santoyo, brother, welcome. Welcome to the podcast. I wanted to have you on and wanted just to reach out to you and get your story. You really have been a part of the salsa community for the last 20 or so years, and you're also a part of what I like to call one of the original seeds of LA, because what a lot of people don't know about the LA scene as far as salsa, it was almost, people can argue that it was the peak of the world at one point in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's where it began and where it eventually gone to all parts around the world. And I view you as one of the original seeds that was a part of some of these dance groups, the original dance teams in LA. And now you live in Austin and moved on to out of LA. And I just wanted to hear your story, brother. How did it start with you? You come out of LA, if I'm not mistaken, Ontario, IE.
Yeah,
And I wanted to hear your story, man. How did you get into salsa, and how did you transition to Austin, man? The floor is yours, brother.
man. Well, thank you. First of all, man, I appreciate it, and I'm grateful, man. That means a lot. Like that's really cool. So yeah, I mean, I didn't even start as a salsa dancer. I was a break dancer, like I was just nothing to do with salsa, nothing to do with nothing. And I actually took an invitation with one of my friends. He said, "Hey, let's go to this place called the Mayan." The Mayan, all right, cool. Like, let's go check it out. And man, it's so funny. We went there, and I went for hip hop. And
Nice.
then eventually, I kind of just split off with my friends, and I went into the big room, and I'll always remember, man. I saw this person dancing, Alex de Silva, first time
Really?
seeing
Wow.
salsa, and he finished dancing with some girl, and there was like two or three girls lined up next to dance with him. And I told myself, man, that I wanna do that. I want to learn how to dance like that.
Yeah.
And very soon, a few days after that, I went to a class in Riverside, California, Arthur Murray Dance Studio. And I
Yeah.
went and I checked it out, and that's where I met Joe Quinones. She was teaching,
Okay.
and we started training a little bit. She taught me more ballroom than salsa. So she
Hmm.
actually, her manager, she's like, all right, this guy's Latino, he's tall, and most of their clientele were Caucasian women.
Yeah.
So she said, all right, well, we're gonna train this guy to dance ballroom. So I trained for, man, months with ballroom, nothing salsa, nothing at all.
Wow. Wow.
And then eventually, when when I started dancing a little bit of salsa, is when I met Alfredo from El Sonero from
Hmm.
Riverside,
Right.
Abel Peña, and then Rogelio, and
Right.
that's when really it started to form. Uh, but the training from ballroom really helped me out. It helped out mostly with my lead, right? Like big time lead. And
Wow.
then from there, that's I guess when I started to realize what dance companies, there's dance companies, there's rumberos, salsa y caché, everybody, the Vasquez brothers, Salsa Brava, everything. And I said, all right, I want a piece of that. So at that time, I was a student, man. I was just looking up to these guys, and I said, wow.
This segment is brought to you by Powersmith Solar. Get a quote today for the best pricing in the nation. Veteran owned, over 15 years experience. Contact us at 424 area code 342-3392. Reach out to us by email at rudolph@powersmithsolar.com.
Like I want to do, like I want to do that.
Yeah.
And that's when we started with our dance company, the first one, which was Salsoneros. And that was being trained by Alfredo and everything like that, right? So we did most of our stuff in the IE, bro, and
Nice.
from there we got into a Phoenix dance company with Joe
Right.
Quinones. That was a fun company because we just let our creativity go crazy. But when
Right.
we started going to salsa congresses, man, with Albert Torres, rest in peace, you know, I
Yeah.
saw, remember Salsa Land? When Salsa
Wow.
Land became big,
Yeah.
that's when we first got on stage in front of everybody. Man, I feel like I was at the Oscars, man, for salsa dancing. We met
Yeah.
everybody, and everybody was super cool. And I think that's where it started from for me, to
Wow.
where they already established everything. But by that time, Johnny had already left
Right.
to Europe, I think, or Italy. I forget where he went.
Right.
Um, and then mostly it was uh, I was with Rogelio a lot, Francisco Pancho, Al, Liquid Silver,
Right. Liquid
uh,
silver. Yeah.
and then I started hanging out with Mauricio a lot, you know, because he
Yeah.
was
No,
on
he told
Sabor y
me the
Caché at that
stories.
time. Man, the stories with that is just they're memories that they can't. I try to explain those stories out here in Austin, in Texas, but they don't get it. You know, it's
Yeah.
LA, man. It's just blood. That those stories are crazy, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of like where it started for me. And
Nice.
then performing, Otero Dance Company was huge at that time, and that's what really taught me how to be a director. She showed me Gloria, showed me how to be a director, and uh stage presence, all that good stuff, you know. So yeah, that, and then from there, man, I feel like everybody, like what you're saying, like that core, I
Yeah.
feel like we were together for a few years, and then slowly we just started branching out into our own places, you know. I went to Texas. uh People just started traveling, you know, elsewhere. Joby, I remember Joby left.
Right.
And then that's when the team started kind of not breaking up, just leaving it there in order for everybody to travel and do that.
Yeah. It's
But you're
interesting.
right.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's from the late 90s. It's that core of those dance groups and dance teachers that started in LA. It was just getting so big that it inspired like other dance people and from the IE like yourselves and so many and then you had people leaving, whether it was for opportunity, let me go check out the city, or let me go to Europe to check out this city, and they found more opportunity, and suddenly everyone started branching out and leaving California, leaving LA for Italy, for New York, for Florida, for Texas, and so forth. And now that original core and even the people that kind of were inspired by that core have kind of branched out, and now like yourself, you're now in Austin, and you've kind of in a way have become a staple in that city for salsa and dancing. So it's kind of really, when you kind of take a backseat and look, it's like, wow, like all these dancers and dance companies kind of branched out, and you know, it who knows that salsa would have been as big as it is today if that's,
Yeah,
you know,
and
so
that's good, and you bring a good point, because I feel like that generation, my generation, we were around the right people, because the founders, they really brought us in, and they made us feel comfortable to be one of them, not just students. So I mean, I remember, man, uh, people in Salsa Cache, their one thing they always would have liked is just the guys. They said, man, if I could have anything, I would always would like to share the stage with Rogelio. You
right.
know, just me and him. And I got to do that. And I wasn't with SYC at the time. I was with Magic Mambo, and we had just won the Mayan
Yeah.
that year. And Albert Torres, he had a little tour to go to Japan, and he wanted certain guys from LA, certain guys from New York, certain girls from Colombia, all to represent, go to Japan. And he got Rogelio, obviously, to go.
Hmm.
And he called us up, Magic Mambo, and he said, hey, man, I want you to go represent as Magic Mambo, so go with Rogelio.
Right.
So we did a routine together, man, and it happened so quick, just like that. We had a month to prepare, and he'll laugh if he knows I said this. Man, we had a month, bro. Did we practice at all? We tried, but it's hard. Even show up at the studio. Oh man, you there? You know. So I literally learned the choreography days before performing it in Japan with Rogelio, bro.
Wow.
I was learning choreography in Japan in the hallway the night of. That's how crazy it was.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, it was insane. But those guys really took us in to where we did that to the generation that followed. And I think that's why that LA staple never died, because
Yeah.
we kept it going and we learned from from the best, man. Like we learned from those guys. And after that, I didn't really keep up too much because at that point, that core of us, we had pretty much left everything uh
Yeah.
to other people's hands. I think the only one that stayed was I know Josie. Josie's still out there. She kept it strong.
Yeah.
Rogelio, of course. Francisco was always bouncing around.
Yeah. True.
Luis also. Luis, I would always see them at different congresses, man. Like we would see each other once a year.
Yeah.
And it's really cool how you know if you see a little click anywhere, you'll know if it's LA because
Yeah.
um we're very eccentric and we're very just we you know when somebody of that era is in the room. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's
Yeah.
cool, something to be proud of. So yeah, dude, like I think that's why it stayed so good and it bled onto the IE uh because we learned from those guys, man, and they taught us very well.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely an interesting time. And what made you, did you take a break from dancing at one point? And what made you move out to Texas and Austin of all places?
You
How
know
did that
what?
happen?
I think after the Mayan, like because
Mhm.
that was such a big thing for us,
Huge.
uh for me to for us to kind of have under our belt. So me
Yeah.
and Jose were like, you know what, dude, we're going against Abel, you know, we're going against the people from Colombia, like we're going against a lot of people, man, like they're really good. But
Yeah.
one thing that we had that me and Jose had is like a good story uh for the routine and Jose's actual choreography. So we
Yeah.
put that together and man, we surprised ourselves, but we did really good. So after that, I feel like as long as we got world champion under our belt, we can go other places.
Right.
So that's when Jose went to Mexico, did his thing, and I came to Austin. Uh, my fiance at the time, her family lived here,
Mm.
so I had just finished with Otero Dance Company, traveling also. We just, I mean, I feel like I fulfilled myself. I did what I had to do in LA, and it was something like something new, you know. Everybody else was kind of doing it. I remembered from the Rumberos Tuntun, like he left somewhere, he was doing good.
Yeah.
People left to Atlanta. I said, all right, like maybe let me go to Austin. So I came to visit and I saw that they had one club going on
Right.
as opposed to five in LA that we and they're all packed, you know.
Right. Right.
So I saw it and I said, man, you know what? I could do something out here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it took me a few months, but I made the transition. I moved out here. Uh, and I honestly I started doing it on my own. I started running clubs. It took a little bit because people are not used to seeing guys in suits
Right.
running a salsa night. You know, it's just not the thing
Right.
in Texas. So it took me a while to warm up to people, you know. But eventually I started teaching LA style,
Right.
which most everybody out here was doing on two,
Yeah.
New York style. So that took a little bit of time to kind of transition also. But yeah, eventually it started working. I started getting different nights, a huge clientele of students that followed me.
Yeah.
And from there, you know, just kind of the things that seeing Francisco and Rogelio and them, like they would come up with the formula, you know, like create your students, have your dance company, and have them follow you wherever you go. That way
Right.
you could start spreading out your little network. And that's what I did out here. And it worked.
Nice.
It worked really good. I started having a team right away. And always, I mean, I've always kept it my style, LA. Even if I tried, I can't change it, you know? It's
Yeah.
just that's what it is. Yeah.
It must have been tough in the beginning when you first moved because you really didn't know anyone out here in Texas and
Yeah.
Austin, and to start new and start to a club and reach out and start to
Yeah.
get something going. And that original, those early stages must have been a lot of hard work, man.
It was. And that's why I was like, man, I was trying to imagine how it was for those guys to start out there. But in a
Yeah.
way, they kind of had each other, right? They're all
Right,
friends. Hey, let's do this. I mean, it's a story, man. It's a storybook. And
right.
like, hey, all right, well, I'm gonna do my thing, but we're still homies. We're brothers,
Yeah.
right? But well, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna go. I didn't have nobody, so
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying. I
just
mean, you were
basically
here
kind
by
of,
yourself. You didn't
yeah,
know anybody except for, your
yeah,
fiance at the time. But other than that, it was
yeah.
definitely a
Um,
hard work.
it was it was tough, man. But I was kind of stuck with it, and eventually, people. I think in the beginning, people were a little intimidated,
Yeah.
because Mr. LA over here with his suits, but they got to talk to me like, hey, I'm a normal guy. I'm goofy,
Yeah.
I like to have fun, but I also know what it's like to train, and how to train.
Yeah.
Uh, it's an art form, man, and goes again back to the original thing. Like, man, I was trained so well by these guys,
Yeah.
tough love, but at the end, when you're bowing in front of hundreds of people at congresses, it's all love.
Yeah. It's
And
definitely all love. And
yeah,
I hear so many stories like the story you just mentioned, and I you you kind of put together a routine like the day of or 2 days of or a week of. It was something that I hear so many times
yeah,
from so many different dance companies back in the day. They hear the same,
yeah,
oh man, especially like Magic Mambo. Like
yeah,
last time I was in Mexico, I was talking to Jose, and he was like, yeah, we would do a routine in like 2 days, boom.
yeah,
And that was kind of like the thing, just the raw talent and the hard work that went in those 2 days. It was incredible to see. It was like crazy.
yeah. And I don't know. It's. I think I always kind of tell this to my dancers once in a while. I kind of remind them, and I humble myself also, saying the way that we used to train out there, the way we used to do routines, perform,
Yeah.
it's just something that if you didn't live through it, it's hard to recreate
Yeah.
because there's this funny moment with me and Jose when we uh they did this thing together, a collaboration. I don't know if you remember LA All Stars, a
Okay.
routine that we did. Uh it was Rogelio's idea, and he got everybody, like he got all like Magic Mambo, he got people from Salsa, but I was like a lot of people, like big people. And
Yeah.
then we did the choreography together, and then he had certain groups to showcase in the front, and then we would rotate, right?
Right. Right.
So there was this one part where he said in rehearsal, he said, "Hey, tú, Jose, like, you know how you use, hey, fuckers, come over here." So we were in charge of a little part to choreograph, right? So we
Yeah.
did, we're proud of it. Like, all right, let me see, right, good. Day of the show, you're behind stage with now everybody that you used to perform next to, but now you're on the same team. Like, it's cool, right? So I kind
Yeah.
of got lost in the moment. And our part came up to where because we changed things last minute. We got in the front and we're doing our footwork. And there's this part where we do like a eight count, and then we look to our left. So we're next to each other, and I'm on the left, and then we do the part, and for some reason I got lost where I was. I do this. I look to my right, and I
Shit.
look at Jose, and he fucking smiles at me, and he winks at me because we can't move after that. That's not our part. So I'm staring at him for two eight counts, and he's just winking at me. And I want to laugh, but those are two, like, he trusted us, like, don't fuck up, guys, don't fuck up. But to this very day, we laugh about that moment because we were in front of everybody. No one knew it was a mistake, but his little wink at me said, "Yeah, you fucked up, but don't move." It was great. And those things, you know, a lot of people be like, oh my God, no, but you know, and those things is just, yeah, put it together in 20 minutes, go perform, see what it's like.
Right, right.
It's crazy, man.
Those were crazy. Those days were crazy. Mauricio tells me so many crazy stories. It's just, you know, it's and he has nothing but good things to say about you. It's like, dude, the kind of shit we went through, man, and you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's you know, for you to move down here and create like your own scene, it's you know, it's quite impressive, man. And you know, what do you think are some of the challenges as a person, as a teacher, going to a new area and starting fresh?
Well, you know what? The biggest thing for me was how to how to get the business side of everything, because that's
Oh,
one
right,
thing I
right,
didn't learn. I would always help out, go to events and stuff like that, but now this city is potentially could go a different direction. So
right,
I had to just jump in and start talking to club owners, talk how we're going to split money,
right,
how to take care of the band. Man, all this stuff was very new to me, so I literally had to learn it on the fly. Uh, and so instead of dancing so much competitively,
hmm,
like I did in LA, that I feel took a drop,
right,
a substantial drop,
right,
because then I became more of a teacher in order to create this scene that I want to. It's going to take me years, right? So
right,
let me start teaching and getting the style out there and getting people comfortable with it. So that really was the key to where I can get people to follow me, and how to run a night. Man, that was a different beast on how to run a night, uh, to make sure that you teach a class of. I mean, we had places out here that we still have them. They weren't as big as the Mayan,
yeah,
but they're as prestigious.
right,
And you're talking about a room full of people, party people.
right,
How do you get all these people to follow you in a group class, which is still to this day one of the hardest classes to teach, is at a club that is not
right,
a satisfied club.
right,
So, and then deal with the bands. So yeah, my level of, I guess, taking care of running a night just shot to the roof, and that I stayed with that for years, and being a teacher for years and a choreographer for years. And just recently, actually, I went back, and it's funny because you got a hold of me right at that time that I
right,
started training myself again. So
okay,
I started putting choreography out to my dancers, and I told myself, you know what? They don't have to get it. If it's too difficult, there's no time frame, but start teaching and choreographing again to your level, because you've lost that, Jose. You lost that for years,
yeah,
and it showed. So I got back to it, man. And let me tell you, it's shot back up. And sometimes I kind of smile because, yeah, you know, I still got it, but it's never left. Just I haven't practiced it in so long.
right, right,
Um, but man, all those fundamentals are there. So I'm able to teach. I'm able to teach that way. So the first years were hard, man. But now after all this, after learning the business side and the style, keep the same formula, it
yeah,
works. And people naturally started following me. And that's where we are right now, dude. And uh the level of difficulty, I feel like it's satisfying to me again, because instead of doing like one pirouette, guys, let's do three. You
right,
know, Francisco Vasquez, man, he's still doing five or six. You know,
right.
why can't I? You know, why can't I? You know, why can't I continue to push myself? So that's what I've been doing, man, and it's been going good with that.
That's fucking awesome, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you bring up a good point, because when you're so focused on the competitive side, and then being a part of so many dance companies back in the day where you're performing and competing or going to different congresses, different parts of the world and across the nation, you really are not focused on the business side because that's not what you're doing. But once you start your own and trying to create a night for yourself, now there's all these different moving parts that you never had to deal with before. Like you said, the band, the owner of the bar or the club, whether you're going to get a DJ in there, whether you're not going to get a DJ, who's going to pay them, when you're going to pay them, who are you going to get to charge at the door, who's going to be charging the class, whether it's 10, 15, 20, all those little elements. And now you're kind of spread thin, kind of focusing on everything, and learning all that it's tough, and you kind of start to lack on the competitive side and the choreograph and all that stuff. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
So,
it went for a while like that, but you don't really notice it until you really sit back and start watching your previous projects and stuff like that. Because really you don't have time. You're on to the next thing. You're on to the next thing. And until I just recently finished that film, the short film that we did, is when I kind of sat back. I'm like, wow, I need a break, man. I need a little break from directing, from shooting those music videos, a little break, and just start getting back to the roots of where we had homework, man. Like after practice, we would have homework. Go get in front of your dance mirror, get in front of your mirror, do those turns, look at your posture, look at your footwork. Like I started doing that again, and it's like, once you got those, man, you don't lose them. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
It really is. But it took me to do all these things, finally sit back down, being like, man, I haven't done that move in a while. I haven't trained like that for myself in a while, because you don't get used to it. You get caught up. But that's one of the things about being responsible for people, and not to be melodramatic, but a city. If you're gonna bring if you're gonna bring what you got to a city, you can't just give them half-ass. You got to give them everything that you got, and the way that you were taught, teach these people. And man, that's so cool, man. One of the biggest things that I learned from SYC was, talk about a crew. Like they roll deep. If they were to go, man, from way in Bellflower, where they were at, they went to San Bernardino to that one club. I forgot what it was called, man. And they rolled like 20 deep SYC. That's how you roll, bro.
Yeah.
And you hear about that. It's like, they got there late. Always, they always get there late. We always get there late.
Yeah.
But before midnight. And that's why I'm like, I took that, and not just because they're my team, but they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of, oh, that's right. They're the ladies from Top Shelf Latin Entertainment. Yeah, that's what's said from Top Shelf. Yeah. And then you want to roll like that. And instead of, like, you had guys wearing their jackets with rumberos, salsa boricache, salsa brava. And in a way, we kind of still have that. You know what I mean? But not as like, I guess, kind of like, remember that movie Breaking? You know how they would always come and they're
the
all
cruise.
the cruise. You still kind of have that, and I mean, I have that out here a little bit, so it's really fun, man.
That's awesome, dude. Being that you've been a teacher for so long, and for some of the people that will be watching this and hearing this, and for people that want to learn, and there's a lot of students that have challenges in learning. And what do you think is one of the biggest challenges as a teacher teaching? Because the reason I bring this up is because you have different personalities, and it seems like every teacher has a certain way of teaching. Did you ever find yourself ever have to adjust the way you teach to every single type of personality that would come to your class?
Yeah, in some ways I do.
Yeah.
Especially when I teach at clubs,
Okay.
uh, because it's an open floor, and so somehow you have 45 minutes to get people that have never danced before, beginners, intermediate, advanced people that just want to help you out, people that think they're advanced, people that don't follow the curriculum, um, and which drives instructors crazy. But
People
somehow
that
you
think
got to
they're
figure out,
advanced.
yeah, bro. Uh,
That's funny.
somehow you got 45 minutes for everybody to do the same thing.
Right.
And when that last 10 minutes of the club, uh, because really that's why I do the classes to get people warmed up, so that as soon as you finish with that class, boom, the band comes on, the curtains come open. That's how you start a night off, right? So it's still very difficult
Yeah.
to have all those people because of the personalities, and somehow you have to be louder than them, but your teachings have to be so, you can't think too much. You kind of got to go with the flow.
Right.
And I learned after so many years, I cannot have a set pattern that I'm going to do,
Right.
because I never know what I'm going to get in a club.
Good
So
point.
eventually I kind of go with the flow, and without them knowing, they're already halfway into the pattern that I was going to teach, which if I were to show them the pattern in the beginning of the class, they'd, oh, hell no. They would have sat down, they would have drank a beer or something, just watch the class. But man, getting them to do the same thing, it's not easy, but it takes a lot out of, personally for me,
Right.
because I don't like to just whatever, they're doing their own thing. They're like, no, I want everybody to be doing the same thing. And sometimes going about those dancers that think they're advanced and they get in there.
Hmm. Right.
Sometimes what I learned, they're doing my pattern, but then right before I switch them, they'll throw their own stuff in, and they'll to a beginner,
Right.
because I feel like, man, they're not doing it to hate on you, Jose. They're not. I just don't know any better, man. They're just like, wow, I got the floor right now. Let me show off a little bit. Let me show this girl that I know how to do these moves. And me, I'm over there side glancing. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, that's not what I'm teaching. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So when somebody does that to me, when they started doing that to me, I would purposely change the move that they did right after, purposely change it so that they would have to learn my one. So like,
Ah,
yeah,
nice, nice. Right.
crossbody lead with turn into an open break. All right, and then I stop there. But then these guys would do like another trip header going this way. What usually happens, and I see that. All right, guys, we're gonna do this, and then you stump them. They're like, "Oh, mira, I've never learned that one." And I'm like, "Andale, pay attention. You're no better than these students over here." So it's tough love, man. But you find out how to do things like that, because that's, man, all over the world right now, bro. That topic is so hot,
Yeah.
as far as teaching, how you teach certain people. There's some instructors that have no patience, bro. No patience.
It's true. And that's why I bring it up, because it's almost like when you go to college, like for example, I've always hated history class. Always, throughout most of my time in school, until I had one teacher in college that taught history a little different. And then I fell in love with it because the way he taught it.
Yeah.
And I can remember three teachers that taught three different subjects that I still remember their name today because of the impact and the way that they taught. And I also have experienced a very long time ago some teachers as well, Salsa, that as you hit it right on the nail, they lack the patience.
Mhm.
So as a teacher, I can, I can see how challenging it can be for some people not being able to adjust, or the patience that people have. And it was, one of the people that I loved, and one of the first people that I took lessons with was Luis Vasquez.
Yeah.
And he was just so patient. He was one of the best teachers at the time, and there's so many like that. And I admire a lot of the people that have to make the adjustments and teach different styles and different personalities and stuff.
Yeah.
What you do, man. It's really hard.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to, I mean, it's like I said, it's a touchy subject, but it kind of goes
Yeah.
back to how you were taught. The way I was taught, man, I was like taught on what not to do in some cases. Like,
Right.
ooh, I think that instructor was a little too hard on that person, even though he's trying to make everybody feel good. But that one person, that's not just anybody. They could go away and their first experience in a class, that's it. Their first impression. And you're the instructor. Man, that's a lot of pressure on you. And if you don't have the goods, if you don't have the patience, then that's going to bleed on. So if you weren't trained correctly and on how to do things, and you know what, maybe it's not for certain people.
Right.
Maybe it's just naturally doesn't come to it. I had to learn how to do it. But then as the line keeps going down and down and down, some people are teaching, a lot of people are teaching that they honestly should not be teaching, bro. Like, I said it in
Right.
yeah, just the other day analogy, man. Like you see a room full of 50, 60 people, and they're 30 minutes deep in a class, and you see what they're doing. Not one person is doing the same thing.
Wow.
And that, man, you have these people in your hand.
Yeah.
You have their dancing, what they're learning. You have it in your hand, and you're not paying attention to it. You're doing more damage than you are good, just to get paid or a little video of yourself. And that's so sad to see, bro, because I can't tell you how many students have come to me for private lessons. And that first lesson, I have to basically bring all those bricks, take them apart, and start fresh.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you know what? A lot of them have gotten upset. Most of my students are women, and they've gotten upset after my first lesson because they're like, man, I spent all this money, all these years doing shit wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you've hit a wall. The reason why you can't get in better because, man, you lack the fundamentals. They never taught you properly. So let's go. And now these people, like, it's taking a year or two, but man, that's an investment in your life, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just dance. Once you start dancing, it's addictive.
Right.
And I don't care if it's bachata, kizomba, whatever, man, whatever you got, man, it's addictive. And it's up to those teachers to be able to give you like your three teachers, man. That's why you like history now. Imagine if you didn't have that shit, you still would hate history.
Right. Right.
And it's just I don't think people understand how important it is that you're teaching people, like I like saying that I like making the difficult look easy.
Yeah.
And how do you do it? You break it down. I was horrible like you in history. I hated math. I hated it. I still hate numbers.
Yeah.
But somehow I'm able to break things down to where we put some structure in it. And it's almost like people forget, in my case, people forget they're taking a class because I have them laughing at some point. I physically touch them at some point to know that I'm still there for them.
Yeah.
I pay attention. I give like gold star, like, oh, I saw you. You don't think I'm looking at you, but I saw you. Good job, girl. Like giving that affirmation of good things. You want to please your instructor.
Right.
You want to make sure that they're seeing you, and it's infectious.
Yeah.
So then everybody starts doing it. And if somebody feels that you're not paying attention to them, you didn't even know I was there.
They won't come back.
So it's so many, yeah, exactly. So many
Yeah.
things happen in that hour that it's physically, dude, it's so straining. It's so exhausting. Personally, for me, after a whole night, it's the whole thing. It's the whole formula with me. You teach, you run the night, you host, you DJ in between sets, and you dance, and you're just socializing with people. It
Right.
takes a lot out of you,
Right. A lot of
and you're
energy.
so drained after that night. But hey, this is what I signed up for.
Yeah.
This is what I want to give them. I want to give them this experience so that they can keep coming back to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think you hit it right on the nail. It's you said something that maybe a lot of teachers don't focus as much on, and it's the little things. Some of the little things, like you said, hey, tapping someone on the shoulder, good job, gold star, those little things, those affirmations really go a long way. And I think a lot of people don't do that in their daily teachings, whether it be teaching salsa, whether it be in a classroom. And I think those really go a long way. And I think what you mentioned also, that there's a lot of people that shouldn't be teaching.
Yeah.
And how many times have you heard that? Even back in LA, there's probably a few people, even in LA back in the days, 20 years ago, that probably shouldn't have been teaching. But again, they learn how to dance within 6 months and they start teaching. And now they're teaching people the wrong things, the wrong fundamentals. And now when they come to you, you kind of have to break them apart and kind of destroy them and rebuild them again.
Yeah.
And then they learn the right way. So
Yeah.
I think one of the things, it's great to learn from different people, so they can see the differences, if there's a student that learned the wrong way with 3 or 4 different teachers, and then they finally come to you, they're like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, what have I been learning?
Yeah.
Now I'm learning the right way. So
Yeah. Yeah. Man, one of the best compliments for an instructor, for a teacher, is, and this happened a few months ago, you go to a place that you haven't been before. Like, I went to this club that they have little socials. You go there and you see these moves being done that you've taught before. And then when you show up, all these people are like, man, you know what, dude, I've gotten so many compliments on my dancing. Hey, it's because Jose. And oh my gosh, I trained with Jose. I did. The biggest compliment for me is to hear that and to see them dancing the night away, looking amazing, and not forgetting the techniques and all the fundamentals that I taught them, to
nice.
where, yeah, you feel like Mr. The old sensei. You're like, yeah,
Right.
man, cool, and you're proud of it because, man, like when you eventually step back and my team, my students are like, dude, I'm gonna, man, I'm gonna be your student forever, bro. Like, as long as you, and I say, no, dude, like, I want you to move on from me.
Right.
And I want you to become so good that now you branch out and you keep what I taught you going, just like they taught me. So it's an old formula, bro,
Yeah.
but it's something that, how people say, well, I was raised right. Well, dude,
Right.
I was trained right by the right people, by the right atmosphere. Because I think back then you stuck to what you were doing and you really had your head held high. Because, man, salsa was new out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, what are you guys doing? You guys what? You guys dressing up and like, what are you doing? Your little dance? Like, no, we're performing in front of hundreds of people at a congress. Like it's those things that, yeah, you give to other people, man. And I
Yeah.
treat them like same as I treat my students, man. Like I want, it doesn't matter the age. I want them to be like, you know what? I'm gonna come back because I had fun. Matter of fact, you know what? We should tell such and such. Oh, they're gonna have such a great time. After you see a great movie, what do you want to do? You want to brag to your friends about it. Dude, you gotta
True.
watch this.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to walk away from, like that. And they'll come back to you, man. They'll come back. Dance at clubs. Don't just dance with your friends. No. I used to go to the because family, it was a glorious nightclub. It's a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, instead of dancing with the daughter, you're, oh, the instructor over here. Oh, Mika, go dance with them.
Yeah.
No, senora, get up. Dance with the aunt, dance with the mom. When's the last
Right.
time they dressed up, man? And are they gonna dance? Yeah, they're gonna dance with the instructor. Mika, we're coming back. I like him. You know, it's things like that. Small things to make people feel important. I know that works with me, man. Affirmations of good job. You know
Yeah.
how far that goes with me? And I'm like, I can't be the only one, dude. Some people like tough love. Hey, you do that again, we'll chop your feet out, you know? But come here.
Yeah.
I love you. You know I love you. Don't fuck up again. You're
Right.
better than me. Some
Right.
people
Right.
like that. Not
Yeah.
everybody. And that's why, like running a company, man, 17 different personalities
That's
in
tough.
one room.
That's
That's
tough.
tough, bro. Type A personalities,
Woo.
women. Oh, bro. I mean, yeah, but eventually you want them to get along.
Yeah.
They're not all gonna get along with each other.
Right.
Well, the one common factor everybody has is that they're for you. So you gotta be Big Daddy Pants, you know? You gotta be fair with everyone.
Well said.
Tough, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Well said, brother. And that was definitely some wise words there, dude. What for those that have never been to Austin to the salsa scene there, because I imagine before you even got there, like you said, it was only one salsa club, one place that was playing salsa. Now, today, for those that have never been to Austin and want to go to Austin, Austin is one of the biggest and has been one of the fastest growing cities in Texas
Yeah.
for the last maybe 10 years. What are some of the places that people can come visit for the weekend to go and experience salsa or bachata in Austin?
You know what? The community has been growing the past several years. My buddy has been doing a really good job. His company name is Inspired Movement. His name is Fabian Bustos.
Nice.
Uh, and
Nice.
he kind of did what I did, you know, like he got his crew together, right? He got his
Mhm.
clique, and now he's got his studio where multiple teachers are teaching. Man, he's got at least 60 to 70 people sometimes taking in his workshops. And
Nice.
that's like weekly, dude. So
Wow.
he's got a
Good.
good hold of the dancers that they like bachata, love kizomba, and salsa they also love.
Nice.
They're able to share that in a studio atmosphere. Now, you have other dance studios also that do a good job of that, you know, various different names out here. They're reputable names. They've been doing good.
Yeah.
Um, then you got my area, which is we always work with live music. So we do mostly clubs.
Okay.
And when you go to a club, sometimes you gotta get out of your head. Oh, I'm just gonna wear shorts and my shirt and my tennis shoes and I'm gonna go party. No, no, no. One thing that I kept and I still keep is I guess you could say the romanticism of going to a club again.
Yeah.
Get
Right.
dressed up, you get a table, the whole experience, right?
Right.
Because you get caught up sometimes, you know, like you can't just always be going to socials and feel like it's practice. You're getting good, but you
Right.
got to branch out a little bit. Once in a while, you know, get dressed up, go out to a club. That's where my area is. You know what I
Nice.
mean? So we
Right.
always work with live music, and the mostly beginners when it comes to dancing. Get a lot of beginners. Beginners are fun, but again, you got to have the patience. Got to
Yeah.
have the patience for them. Uh, but if they're coming to Austin, Inspired Movement is a great company. You mentioned that name, everybody knows about it. Um, I don't work for them anymore, but you have these restaurants called Glorias.
Right.
They also have live bands.
Yeah.
That's more of a restaurant atmosphere though.
Right.
Could be a little bit more to party. They got top 40s and stuff like that, but
Right.
um, I would say it's like salsa, pure salsa, or venues that I work with. The bands Moña Loca, La Tradición, or the Brew. A lot of good places out here that still get that.
Nice, nice, dude. Awesome. So, and what are some of the projects, or what are you working on now? I know you posted something, you have a night coming up. What are some of the things that you're working on now?
Oh, yeah. So I just worked on got a deal for the new year. We have it's called Baker Street Pub. It's really huge venue. They got a nice stage,
Nice.
beautiful wood floor. You know how important that is.
Yep.
Uh,
Very important.
it's an old building. A lot of people, a lot of traffic through there. So they do have live bands every week, almost every day of the week. So I put my idea out there with the owners and general manager, and so we're starting in March. We're gonna have our first night. I think it's gonna blow up. I think it's gonna explode.
Nice.
Because it's been, ever since COVID hit,
Right.
my spot's just right. Obviously, not
Right.
just here, everywhere.
Right. Everywhere.
And it's been a little tough because financially, man, it's not easy, dude. When you have to worry about the bar, really owners, that's all they want, dude. They
Yeah, it's
want they want
true.
the bar.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
it's a myth that salseros don't drink. Yeah, we drink. We
Yeah.
just don't like paying a lot of money for it. A
Right.
lot of people say, oh no, they just drink water all night. No, that's bullshit. Not my places.
Yeah.
They drink. So uh we have to make sure the bar's okay. The band, we have to make sure they're happy. Everybody gets paid. Nobody works for free.
Yeah.
Uh Unfortunately, sometimes the host, like myself, sometimes has to take a hit in order for it to get running, right?
Right.
Um,
At least in the
and I'm
beginning. That's
Yeah, and I'm
understandable.
used to that. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
But if you get enough people following you, and I got a pretty good following now, it's almost now it's a well-oiled machine after all these years. Now
Right.
it's just plug and play, bro. Let's go. This is my night. Who's coming? And that's just taken years. I've been here for 14 years, bro.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
taken a long time to finally get to that point where now you're you're well respected and you're humbled to where you make a few phone calls and you got the support from the community. You know
Nice.
what I mean? It's consistency is the key, right?
Right. Of course.
Um, which is very, very hard, man.
Yeah.
Nightclubs and other places pop up overnight, and they have a tendency to just want to do the new thing. Like, ooh, that place was great. Oh yeah, I can see myself coming back. Hey, there's another place. Let's check it out.
Right.
That's
Right.
tough, man. And you don't want to
So,
force people to come out. You don't want to be posting every day about your event because then you're like, here he goes again. Like you don't want to be that either. You just
right.
you want to make sure that it's just right for them. It's almost like, after so many years, you want to make people feel like it's theirs. And that's
Right.
what I learned after so many years, man.
It makes a
You
lot of
can't
sense.
you can't just put a flag and expect people to follow you, man. Like you have to make their experience be great the first time. Because if you do great for 4 months in a row, you have one shitty night, that's it. You're done. You know that,
Right.
man. You know that's true. So it's tough, man. It's really tough. But it's been good. It's been good to me and my company.
That's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
where can people find you, dude? Online? Anyone wants to reach out, and take a private class or take one of your classes that you teach during the course of the week? How can people find you? Social media, online?
Yeah, social media is probably best. I'm actually working on my new website, right? Where I've been trying to put everything rolled into one, like
Nice.
all the new videos that have been coming out,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
my new group classes that are coming out. Like I'm actually here at the place is called the Austonian. It's the tallest building in Austin. and I'm on the 56th floor. So
Okay.
every Wednesday, I coach one of my students that I've had for 14 years. So
Nice.
the newest thing that I have now is for all the residents here in this building, we've worked with management and with building the organizers to where
Mhm.
I'm going to be the official instructor for the
Oh,
building,
nice. Awesome.
to
Shit.
where they can come up here once a week in this huge, beautiful space. They probably lived here for years, man, and they've never even met each other. That's the cool thing about salsa. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
right.
get to take a class here every week with a beautiful view, have fun. Never danced salsa before. That's a few years, not a few years, many years ago, I would have been nervous.
Right.
But
Right.
I think after so many experiences, after so many classes, it's not just like put on my jacket and go. It's putting the whole outfit on, man. Treat everybody, make them feel important. You know what I mean? Like
Well
how
said.
many, like I don't know how many times I get when I do shows or when I've done things like that. Oh my gosh, like older people, they'll just grab me, they'll hold me, and they'll one thing I would have always loved is to learn how to dance. Man, if I get one thing that people always say, it's that.
Really?
And
Wow.
and I just tell them, hey, you're doing it now.
Yeah.
It's not too late. Uh, the beautiful thing about salsa is there's so many ways to dance it. There's on one, or on two, on three,
Right.
body movement, anything, but it's how those people feel when they're moving. You know what I mean? And it's not the it's not what I'm teaching, it's how I'm teaching it and how I deliver it is how people are going to remember it. You know what I mean? Not everybody learns the same. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner, dude.
That's
People
so
try to
true.
explain things, man. It's like I'm looking at their mannerisms and
Right.
I'm like, wah, 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 wah. Just do it. Let me follow you.
Yeah.
And then the rest comes. And other people, you need to be meticulous on how to,
Yeah.
um, that's why your mind goes like this, racing while you're teaching. You know what I mean? So it's definitely one of the most prestigious abilities that I've ever learned was how to teach.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I realized how important it is. I've impacted people's lives, dude. And that's on the real. And I've had people tell me, you know what, my life changed when I started dancing. And in some ways, you're a therapist on your feet. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right. That's a good way of saying it. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. Well, brother, you know, uh, thank you for sharing your story, man. We've been talking for quite some time. It's an amazing story just to hear you part of some of those original teams in LA, venturing off to Austin and really creating a scene for yourself in Austin. And it's really great to see that flourish and grow to where it's at, and just to share with everyone just your teaching experience. And for those watching, by all means, look up Jose Santoyo on social media. Are you on Instagram as well, Facebook, all that, where people can look you up?
Yeah, just look up Top Shelf Latin Entertainment or Jose Santoyo. Yeah, you'll see me floating around there.
Awesome, brother. Well, dude, great talking to you, brother. It's an honor to have you on the podcast, and I'll
Thanks, man.
definitely
Appreciate it.
much respect to you, much respect to your hard work, and I'll definitely be reaching out to you when our mutual friend decides to come to Texas and visit.
We're gonna have to press record for that too, bro.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. All right, brother. Well, I'll talk soon, man, and we'll be
All
in
right,
touch, brother.
all right, brother. You take care, man. Peace.
All right, man. Take care, brother.